I knew what I was going to call the first play of overtime, and I think Pat came over and was thinking the same thing, and so we were kind of already on the same page, and that just kind of gave me more conviction that that was the right call in that moment. When the players ask for things and it's vetted and it's good and it's appropriate for the moment, then I think those are always good opportunities.
Coach, what is this stuff next to the program, and it seems like showed some depth this week with a lot of different wide receivers making plays.
Yeah, I think we had 8 different guys catch a ball during the game. Obviously, it wasn't just the wide receivers, but we had backs and tight ends catch the ball and impact the game. That's always a good, you have a good day typically when 7 or 8 guys touch the ball. That usually means the day's gone fairly well for you, and that's what happened for us, in particular on Saturday. So we feel good about a lot of the guys on our offensive skill to be able to catch the ball and make plays, and that shows up. But with Justin in particular, obviously the familiarity I had with Justin ahead of time. Feels weird to me saying Justin because we just call him Step, but so just making sure I got his first name right. Just a joke, I know his first name, but anyway,
he's a twin.
Yeah, he does have a twin. I know Josh as well. I called Josh on accident one time thinking I was talking to Justin, but that's a different story as well. But Step has just brought a lot of passion for the position, passion for his players, and he's been a great asset for us as a staff and in our offensive room, and he's super high energy. It's fun to watch him on the sidelines react to the plays on the game on the video after on Sundays when we watch it. He's playing it almost like he's out there with them. He's just got a lot of passion and energy for the position. I think that's infectious for that room, we've got a mature room. And an interesting room because we have those guys that are so much older, but then the younger guys, are very mature in the way they carry themselves. Like Hank and Colin in particular are very mature players in the way they go about their business and they prepare and practice. Malik has grown in that leaps and bounds. So he's just been really good for us in the room. The receivers play well on Saturday, and obviously the offense in general did as well. But we're thrilled to have Step with us, and he's been a gret asset for us.
What did you see from Josh, especially without Caden, and what do you kind of make about what you have there moving forward for however long Caden's out?
Yeah, it's good to have. Josh had a great day. He ran the ball well, and I thought our line, played well in the run game and protected well too. And so obviously you can't have a guy. I don't know what the actual yardage is for the running backs, but I know Josh in particular, and had some really good moments, some really good vision, and we kind of played these strings in a lot of ways, and but did a good job out of the backfield, made 2 really nice plays receiving for us, but I was just super pleased with Josh and how he took advantage of his moment. We talk about that a lot. He's not been maybe as primary for the first 5 weeks as he was the other day, and obviously with Caden being out, he stepped up to the plate and took advantage of that opportunity. That's what you want guys to see.
Luke ran the ball pretty well at times. Do you think that's something we could see going forward, him scrambling for yards and being, sometimes a running quarterback?
Well, the scrambling part's hard for me to predict, honestly, because those are things that you don't know that are going to happen. But yeah, if you're going to passing situations and guys, there's pressure or there's guys not covered. He's going to naturally transition to some degree as a scrambler. That's not what we don't want to feature him as a runner, but he's certainly more than capable of that. And there was, I think, 3 or 4 design runs there the other day in critical moments that he executed very well, and very confident in his ability to pull the ball. He does a really good job of reading the perimeters when it's time to pull them. So it's certainly something that I think helped stimulate our running game the other day in a nice way, and is a good complement to what we're trying to get done.
To that end, Barry, it seemed like Luke and Pat both said we feel like we've played that defense for 3 years, or however long we've been here. Was there a level of comfort in practice that, this is the defense we've been going against since August 1st anyway?
Yeah, I think you saw that with our whole offense, and the way that, obviously from a practice standpoint and just repetition over the course of time, our guys are familiar with what they were seeing.
Right.
And I didn't think last year we took advantage of that. And I thought this year we were much more in tune with that. I think even starting with me and the plan and what we did and how we went about doing it. I thought sometimes when you're so close to things, sometimes you don't see them as well, and looking back on the plan 2 years ago, that's kind of how I felt. Like, I felt like I knew that scheme so well that maybe I pressed and tried to do some things that shouldn't have done, and we just kind of scaled that back and just said, look, here over the course of time, here's the things that have been good, for us, and and we injected a bunch of new things too as well. But the bottom line, our guys executed. Like we executed at a really high level. We weren't perfect. We had moments where we could execute it much better, and obviously, the turnover that we allowed was a huge change in the momentum of the game. We left some touchdowns on the board that turned into field goals. A couple of our drives that better execution and taking better opportunity in the moments could have prevented those from being field goals. But I do think the familiarity in the long term did help us Saturday.
What just stood out to you about Luke's performance? First half executing the offense, the second half just making plays.
Yeah, I thought, I don't pay much attention to the statistical part of the thing during the game, and then after the game to see how he affected the game, just in the rushing yards and pulling the ball and scrambling and just everything we did kind of went through him, and he really to a large degree kind of just took over the game, and that. Just in hindsight, in those moments, I'm watching the film on Sunday, and I'm like, dang, that was 3rd and 17. I know the down and distance, during the game, but like looking back on the header on the film, the video, it's like it's 3rd and 17 to end the game, and that play made to Hank, like difference in the game. Just those things. If that ball's incomplete, it's 4th and 17. Are we kicking a field goal there? Are we, having a desperation try to get a 17-yard gain? And so I just thought he was in fully control of the game. Wasn't perfect, obviously. He knows that. We know that. Everybody can see that. We can't put the ball on the ground. We gotta expedite getting rid of the ball at times. But just from top to bottom, I thought the way he bounced back after that turnover was huge. It was a costly mistake, and there's a lot that goes into that. I got to help him with the play call, but I thought just. It was a start to finish performance of really good football by him, and it was fun to watch.
With Brandon and Zai both getting snaps at right guard, is that like a set timeshare, or is it more ride the hot hand? What's the approach?
Yeah, I don't know if we're ready to commit to that, one way or another yet, but just felt like Brandon was somebody that we wanted to explore, given more opportunity to with what he had been doing up to this point. Got his first start, thought he handled it very well. I was really impressed with Zai and the way he came off the bench and the way he played. I thought he really took advantage of those. I think he played 3 series at guard, if I'm not mistaken. But Brandon got his feet wet and had his ups and downs like you would expect a first-time starter to do. And I think moving forward, you'll see both of those guys in there in some combination. And we thought both of them did a nice job for us.
Coach, when you look at
how do you size up Michigan?
Well,
you've seen it carry over from even 2 years ago.
Yeah, seems like it's been a long time ago. Seems like it's been more than 2 years ago. A lot of games, a lot of things have happened between now and then. But, just watching the film, and when you get to sit down and watch the film on Sunday, you see a very disruptive, fast, physical front. Some really high-level players across the board, and a good scheme, well coached. So it's a very good defense that we're going to be playing against. That's obviously a good football team, and I think that experience from not many of our guys were there 2 years ago, but I think the experience from a couple weeks ago at Penn State, just a similar feel, a similar type of attacking defense. Different for sure structurally, but similar in kind of how they present themselves from a personnel standpoint, the talent, the twitch, the power. And I'm hoping that I feel confident that what we went through a couple weeks ago will help us prepare for what we're going to see, because this is an extremely aggressive, talented, physical defense.
They had the weekend off. Does that make you worry about them maybe make some changes defensively they might not do normally, or do you worry about that?
That's one of those things that you could spend you can go down a rabbit hole there of what ifs. And there is a level of that. There's always that speculation, and how are they going to see us, and how are they going to manipulate, and what are they going to do differently? That's just part of the cat and mouse game of college football. And I would fully expect what they are and who they've been for the first part of the season, that they're probably just fine tuning and working and tweaking certain things. But overall, I would expect it to be a similar feel with some nuances that we haven't seen at this point.
When you talk about that strip sack, like when you see those happen throughout Luke's career, are there common threads there that you're seeing that like this is X what we need to clean up, or is it a combination of
Sure.
up front or his internal clock?
All that.
Okay.
Yeah, all that. There's no one,
Right.
thing that you can pinpoint and say, well, it's just this and let's get this fixed. There's a lot of things, play call, read, getting edge, having some urgency to react when things don't go well. It's all that. It's certainly something that we continue to address and talk with them and coach them. It's my job to help get that through and put them in good positions. I didn't like the play call, and he does a lot. Our guys get me right a lot. I mean, that's not just me, but I think a lot. Offensive coordinators across the country, guys. When the play doesn't exactly unfold the way you want, guys get you right. And our guys do a lot of that, and that's one of those moments that I've got to do a better job of putting. They had a pressure coming from the boundary, and so the front rocked to the field and pulls up Luke on a bootleg, and as soon as you get pulled up on a bootleg, bad things happen, and that's certainly what happened the other day. We got to get rid of the ball and try to avoid those situations.
Coach, I know we talked about it multiple times already this season, but just stat that really jumps out is that's red zone offense. So what would you point to, to the success that you've had, and the percentage and the touchdown percentage and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, our guy, it's just about players executing and me putting them in a good position. It's really comes down to, and it's those two things. And it starts with the structure of what we're doing, and then it really is about them executing at a high level. And our guys are doing that, even though we did leave a couple opportunities. I thought our first red zone series was a real poor series when we got down there. We rushed through it, and I didn't like the way we executed the first series. We got in the red zone the other day and we kicked a field goal. I thought that was one of our poor series we've had in a while, but then we bounced back and really calmed down and executed pretty nicely. So I would just say it's not, I'm not trying to undermine it or make it overly simplistic. Obviously that area of the field, it's harder because the defense doesn't have as much field space to defend. Things get congested and get compacted, and you have to have a really high level of execution. You got to be spot on your calls, and I think our guys are confident down there right now, and that'll be a big key this week, to continue that up. And these guys are really good down in that area, and so we're gonna have to be really tightened up to be able to, if we get opportunities down there, to be able to punch it in.
Are you going to see that deepening wide receiver rotation, where those guys got reps the other day, Hank and Colin have obviously produced? What does that allow for you as a play caller? What have you seen from those two?
We got a lot of confidence in them, I mean, like if you get your way out there, you've earned the right to be out there. And there's some guys too that we have confidence that weren't out there. There's guys that have earned the right in practice to get out there, but because of the way the game's unfolded, you've got guys like Zakari and Pat on the perimeter that are so, valuable to what we're doing, and they have really good gas tanks. They can play a lot of plays and not get tapped out. Sometimes there's not as many opportunities, but yeah, it's a really good feeling. We got a lot of confidence in those guys in that room. And then, like I said earlier, like Hank and Colin in particular, those are guys that are just extremely detailed, and they play at a really fast rate on game day. Whatever they are genetically, they play to that, on game day, and that's what you want from all your players, and they do that. And because they're so smart and savvy, they've become really good weapons and a part of what we're trying to do offensively.
Barry, when you look at the touchdown in overtime to Pat, if Luke's being honest, he kind of gave the impression that, Pat's not even his first read, maybe not even his second read. And so when you look at that on film, is that kind of next level stuff that Luke's doing that just kind of over time happens?
Well, I hope he's one of the first two reads. I got to get with Luke on that one if he's not sure if that's his first two reads. But that's a pretty simple read right there.
He made it very clear that it wasn't his first read.
Yeah, he's not his first read. He's right about that, but he is his second. And the safety's the first read, and the safety took the other crosser, and then it made it pretty clear that it was one-on-one, and the throw and the way he pulled the pin on that throw and the ball placement and the catch that Pat made. I mean, that was a big-time throwing catch now. I mean, it wasn't an oversimplistic or over exotic scheme, something that we've done during the year already a few times. People do it all across the country. Put two guys on crossing routes, pick one of them based on what happens in the back end. Luke picked the right one, and just threw a dart in the back of the end zone in the throwing spot, and Pat made a phenomenal play. So, it just, sometimes those work out in a good way, and I just felt like, I was very confident in Luke's ability, our protection, and the two receivers that we're sending out there. that if they were in man coverage, there was going to be a guy that was going to be one-on-one in the back of the end zone to strike them quick, and that's exactly how it unfolded. That was fun to watch.
Talk about Hank. I mean, even you go back to the Penn State game, he had a couple of big catches late in that game. Why is he able to get open like he is, and now has he kind of earned that?
Savvy, knowledge, understanding, spatial awareness, a knack for being open, knack for getting open. I'm trying to think of any other adjectives that would be, just he's patient, he's quick, he's probably deceptively fast in a lot of ways. And just got a really good feel for the position, knows the offense very well, very confident in what he's doing, and those are all good qualities for a slot receiver.
I'll go with Barry.
Good.